Hi guys, welcome to the Mindful Homeschooler. If you're new here, my name is Nicole, and on this channel, I document my journey homeschooling my 6th grade daughter and my son who is in pre-K. Okay guys, so today's video is a plan with me video. I did have some requests and I had a lot of feedback from you guys on YouTube and Instagram that you really did enjoy these type of videos. So I am endeavoring to do a plan with me video every month or at least every 6 weeks. We are getting close to Thanksgiving. We're doing our normal curriculum as well as working on some Thanksgiving units, which is The Witch of Blackbird Pond. We're working through the Hearth Magic Guide, and that does have a lot of Thanksgiving components in it. In addition to kind of showing you how I'm doing my son's new phonics setup that I have. All right, guys, so let's flip the camera around and start planning next week. All right, guys, so let's get started on scheduling this week. I always have my markers. I always have flags and my erasable pen. So that's the tools I use when I'm scheduling. I already wrote in week of November 10th. I'm sorry, I should have done that when we had the video. Okay, one thing that I did have a request on was to show previous weeks and how those looked. So let me show you the last few weeks. So for example, you'll see if I didn't get something done, I'll check it here like this. So I do schedule things in, and then if we don't get to it, I'll check it off. Let me show you the week previously. So you'll see I check when we get things done, and then there are a few things here and there that we don't end up doing, or I cross out as we go. Sometimes I'll erase it and rewrite it, but this is just kind of to give you an idea. So, okay. So let's start her scheduling with her mental health independent loop. Down here, I have a tab called Emma Loop. And right here, you'll see the 3 things that I have for her mental health independent loop. The first thing, which is going to be the first one that we're going to be doing this week, is her gratitude workbook by Let's Do School. Then it looks like the second thing is this book, Sometimes I'm Shy. And then the third thing is going to be her gratitude journal free write. Okay, so we're going to write those. So we have her gratitude workbook, we have her I'm shy, gratitude free write, and then I'm going to loop them again. We'll do gratitude workbook, and I just generally do those 4 days a week. Okay, so for her mental health book, we checked out a bunch of books from the library, and this was the one that my daughter chose. It's not bragging if it's true. She really liked the look of this, so she's going to start reading. I'll probably just have her read, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 pages every day. So this is just a short chapter book. It has how many pages in it realistically? 130. So it shouldn't take her too long. So I'm just going to abbreviate that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is times tables. And I generally do this 5 days a week because I'm trying to get through number 12 so I can start mixing these up. Okay, so let's see what we have for the next 5 days. We have 9, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday we'll go on to 10s. Okay, this has been a really great way to solidify her multiplication. So we'll just do 9. Okay, vocabulary loop. Okay, so on my loop, generally we would be doing daily doodle in 3 days. I just took out this 4th day because we were doing it for 3 days. And then we do word letters. I'm skipping that this week. So instead of doing the daily doodles, we're doing vocabulary out of The Witch of Blackbird Pond. So we're in between. So how she has it set up, like for example, this is week 8, or excuse me, for chapters 8 to 12. We are on chapter 15 and we're finishing up because we're reading a little further than we can get through the activities. But I did have a couple vocabulary words that I wanted to do. Okay, so I really wanted to do menial, and I also think I wanted to do encroaching. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write menial, and I'm going to put vocabulary notebook, and that's going to imply that she's going to be using this notebook. I've showed this quite a few times. So she'll define it in her own words, she'll draw it, she'll use it in a sentence. Copywork, this will be the sentence from the book, which I'll go find, and then we'll break it down here. So that's what she'll do. And then she'll do encroaching for the second day. And I'm going to actually get vocabulary words from the next section, which is 13 through 17. So we'll be done with this. This is Sunday, November 9th. We'll probably be done with those 2 chapters today. She's really interested in reading it. She's really been enjoying it. So I'm going to do, let's look at the vocabulary for this section. I already added a word in that she didn't know what it meant in the page. So I'm going to add in that one here. And then what's another word? I like to find a word that she could theoretically possibly use in today's writing. So let's try slander, and then we'll do exasperatingly. Okay, so then right here, I'll just write that here. Okay, so that's our vocabulary. So now let's go on to our grammar. So let's look at our loop again. Okay, so we're starting with fix it. Oops, and I know for sure we did day 1. I forgot to check that off on Friday. Okay, so we have day 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I need one more day of vocabulary, or excuse me, of grammar. And now Hearth and Story would be a theoretic next one, but I'm pretty sure we're dropping this. I'll have to explain more in my next video, but as sad as I am to let this go, I think we're gonna let this go. So I'm not even gonna try it this week. I don't want the fight. So then we'll just kind of cross this out for now. And let's do combining sentences, which is this one. We're getting close to being done. She just takes these sentences and puts them in a couple compound and complex sentences. Okay, so we'll do that. So we'll do 3 days of fix it and 1 of combining sentences. Okay. Next, we have the modern speller. Okay, so actually, instead of doing the modern speller, which typically we would be doing, we would be doing this passage one day, she would be doing copy work, and the next day dictation, and we move on to the next passage. I'm going to use the copy work from within this guide. So let me find it from the week 8 to 12, because we haven't done that yet. This was a really great quote. So we're going to do this one. This is going to be Monday copy work, Tuesday dictation, and then the following week, which we'll be finishing the last 2 chapters today, we'll do this copy work, which is this passage. And we'll do copy work for this Wednesday, dictation for this on Thursday. So let me just write that down real quick. Okay, so now let's look at math. Oh, before, let me tell you that we just do our copy work in this Schoolness notebook. She'll just go to the next page. She'll write, the source will be the Hearth Magic Guide and Witch of Blackbird Pond. She'll write the date, and then she'll do copy work one day, and then below she'll do the dictation, and then we write any spelling words that she doesn't do correctly. Let's show you, like for example, here's some, kind of to give you an idea. She doesn't always need to rewrite them. So, okay. Now let's go on to math. We have been working through Think Well. I finally purchased it. Let's see, we are on, okay. We went through this a little quickly because some of it was review. So we're already going to be finishing up week 5, which I'm really happy about. So I'm just going to copy what's here into here. Okay, perfect. That will be it for math. Okay, so let's move on to writing and rhetoric. We are on to a new lesson. I'm going to actually go out just a little bit. Okay, so you can see more of it. Okay, so we are working on lesson 9. There's only 11 lessons, so I think we'll be able to get through this lesson next week. So we're getting close to the finish line. Okay, so for Monday, we will read the intro. Oh, this story is a little longer, so we'll do that. We'll do the story, we'll do the narration, she'll break down the sequence, and then we'll talk about it. I feel like that's all we're going to be able to do on day 1. And then day 2, Tuesday, go deeper. How far does go deeper go? A lot. Okay, so then we'll do Tuesday, go deeper. Sentence play we'll do on Wednesday. Yep, copiousness will then be on Thursday. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, and then Friday will be the summary. Okay, so we will be, is there anything else that we do? Okay, nope. So we'll be able to finish that in 1 week. So I'll just note that we're going to be doing lesson 9, and hopefully, if we don't finish it, let's see, I need to add this over here. Just because I'm trying to finish this level, because December we're taking off for Christmas schooling. We won't be doing it, and I'd like to finish this so that starting in 2025 we can move on to book 4. Okay. Geography and science. I'm also trying to get this finished up as quickly as possible. I have 78 lessons in here. Okay, so we have 63. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, we'll get to 67, which means we'll only have 10 lessons left. That's great. How many till, oops, almost to Argentina. Okay, so 63. Okay, perfect. And then for those of you wondering, this Latin America is a biome, very detailed biome and country studies. So like, for example, let me show you. Before we got into the country of Brazil, we learned about tropical grasslands. We learned about wetlands and the Pantanal, which is the wetlands in Brazil. They're the biggest wetlands in the world. And then we went on. But all throughout this, we've learned about deserts, the dry deserts. We've learned about tropical rainforests. We've learned about tropical dry forests. We've learned about the wetlands, tropical grasslands. I know I'm forgetting something, but a lot. And when we're in Argentina, we're going to be learning about, let me show you. We're learning quite extensively about the temperate grasslands, and then the Pampas in Argentina, which is one of the biggest temperate grasslands as well. So, and we have some pretty detailed work for that. And then we're learning about the Patagonia, which is also its own biome. So there's a lot that we've been learning about, and I've really loved integrating the biomes with the country study. Okay, so now, okay, so I was doing logic, and poetry, but now I'm going to change this to mental health, because we got a new mental health curriculum that I'm in love with. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. So this is the Wonder Years mental health. We have gotten a little farther. So what I do is I don't decide, I've got some fun stuff. I like naturally will just read through this and we'll go through the activities. I won't push it too far because I really want it to be meaningful and important and the discussions to happen. And we're already a third of the way through. So I'm not super worried. So I'm just going to put here mental health Wonder House Creative, because I will know it's that study. I may do it a couple more days. It just depends. So I'm actually going to put it here, Wonder House Creative, as well, to do that on Friday. Okay, so now the poetry that we're currently doing is this Ambleside Online Volume 1. We're really liking this. This is very simple, and they've got some really nice poems in there. So I just do Ambleside Online. Okay, guys, so for our novel study, we're obviously not doing Mostos because we're in the middle of a novel study. So let's go through this and see what we had left from the previous week. So we need to paint this meadow. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. The last thing that we have to do for this week is, if I can get to it. Okay, so we're going to learn about this poet of the New World, read one of her poems, discuss it, and then I'm going to have her try to write a poem. So this should be fun. So this is also kind of a language arts thing too. So maybe we won't do poetry on that day. Okay, so we'll do the poem activity, chapter 8 to 12. I'll also put here. Okay. So then we can carry on to the following week and start these activities. Oops. So I have 2, potentially 3 days. Create a colonial era timeline. Yes, I love this. Okay. Okay. So then what do we have next? Learn about the lost colony of Roanoke. This is actually good to do. Yes, because I have this book that we need to read that actually is going to be due back to the library. Someone else put a hold on it. So we will read through this. This was one of the recommended books. We'll read that, and then we're going to learn about the lost colony, and we're going to watch this. So this is probably going to take us, I would say, 2 days. I mean, this isn't a small book. So yeah, I'm actually going to give us the rest of the week for this. Okay, and then the read aloud is obviously Witch of Blackbird Pond. I'll just write it in when we actually read it. Okay, and then if you were curious, next week we will be reading the National Geographic 1607, A New Look at Jamestown. I'll put a picture somewhere because I had to return it to the library. Someone had it on hold. So we'll be reading that and doing these activities. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, these Thanksgiving myths. This will be fun to do next week. I've noticed that we're reading a little faster than we can do all of the activities, which is fine. My daughter and I are really enjoying it. So, okay, guys, so that is my daughter's week. Now let's plan out my son's. Okay, so let's go to his schedule. Okay, so this is how I check things off throughout the week. Additionally, I will write... this is like the example of what I did the week before. We didn't end up doing this day. I write down what we're doing for phonics only here, and I check it off. And to be honest, I don't do anything else. I don't write out what we did the week before. Let me show you some previous weeks. Here's Blossom and Root. Here's the activities that we did. This was for my daughter specifically. And now we're actually done with Blossom and Root level 1. So we're not going to be doing that this week. So I'm only going to have my phonics on this side. Okay, so let's look at his schedule. So the first thing that we need to figure out is Story School, Preschool. Now I don't write what we're doing inside of it because these planning pages I can highlight and have it all in one book. So this is on Katie No Pocket. And I just kind of like briefly look here. Look at what the field trips are. Okay, so Katie No Pocket is the main one, and here's the storytelling components that go with it. And here's Katie No Pocket. Okay, so now I go through and I see which books I have. So I have Does a Kangaroo Have a Mother? I have, let's see, Super Marshals is right here. There's a Walk in My Pocket. I have that upstairs. We own that, so I need to get that. What's in Your Pocket? I have that right here. I'm gonna put I have that, and then that's it. I couldn't get those last two from the library, so I'm just gonna slash those out. Okay, guys. So now I am gonna start highlighting through all the tree house. There's 4 days, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I also look at the activities. There's a paper plate kangaroo pouch, which is gonna be fun. Peanut butter, banana, honey pouches. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is you're going to lead the child in this week's hand rhymes. You always do that, and she always has you dancing from her Spotify playlist. I do one or the other, and I find that we like to do the hand rhyme on the first day. So I just go through and I highlight which one we're doing that day, and I just alternate between them. Okay, so now I will always read aloud the story the first day, always, and the second day, always. And so let's highlight these. Because I have 3 books, I'm going to add on a second book on this day. He does like more than one book, so that works for us. Okay, so Does a Kangaroo Have a Mother Too? Okay, and then while we're on this topic, let's just write in the books. Let's do Super Marsupials, am I even saying that right, on the 3rd day, and we'll do What's in Your Pocket on the 4th day. So what I like to do on these days, if there's any other books that he really liked that he wanted to read, I will do it. And generally that happens, but I want to make sure at least these get in. And if he wants to read Katie No Pocket again, he can. We put these into our basket and reread them a long time after. Okay, so let's go back. Alphabet. Play a guessing game with the items in this week's beginning box. I don't really use the beginning box if I'm being honest because we have our own phonics. Sometimes I will use it, but not that one. Kangaroos can jump up to 30 feet, measure 30 feet with your child, and mark it. Oh, this looks, okay, this looks really fun. We're definitely going to do this one. Okay, wait, before I highlight, let's see. Man with apron had lots of tools. Review the names of, yes, that's a good one. Place the alphabet cards that spell your child's name at one end of the room. Yeah, I think, well, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let me highlight these. Okay, for day 2, what do we have for alphabet? Pull out the letters you've learned so far from the alphabet cards, scatter them on the floor, and have them match uppercase and lowercase. Review the names and the sounds. Actually, that sounds like a good activity. Introduce numbers 11 and 12 by putting the numbers in order and start counting them aloud. Play I Spy. Yes, this is great because he's really mastered 1 through 10, so I feel like this is a great time to introduce 11. Discuss the concept of left and right, demonstrate. Oh my gosh, we literally just did this last week. The perfect shape of the L. Yes, okay, we're gonna do that and follow up on what we were learning last week. Use the instructions to make the paper plate. Yes, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna get these ones highlighted. Okay, so now let's go on to days 3 and 4. Okay, for 3, use water and paintbrush to paint K. I'm not going to do that one just because like I said, we already have the program. Roll a pair of dice and encourage your child to count the dots on each die. Next, have them find matching number cards for each die. For instance, if they roll a 4 and a 6, they should locate both. That's a great activity. Life skills, give your child a piece of paper and a sticker sheet of forest animals. I'm not going to do that only because I don't have that, and I would have to go find that. Story connection, explore a globe and find your home, discovering how it connects to the rest of the world. Talk about names of continents and oceans. Yeah, we've never done that, so that would also be a great one to do. Okay, so let's lastly do 4. Using a movable alphabet together, match upper and lower and review all the sounds that you have learned. Teach your child that k and k together makes a k sound. This is actually a really good one, but I don't think we're going to do it. Oh, he has learned both of those in the past. I'm going to highlight it and then decide that day. Show your child a card with the number 0 from 12 and ask them to hop that many times. Yes, that sounds awesome. Life skill, discuss the word generous in the story. The man showed generosity by giving his apron to Kate. Yes, I love this. Think of ways to practice that. Story connection, play animal charades. Yes, perfect. What a good week this is. Oh, and I do need to write in here what day. Let's do this day. Make banana pouch. Okay, I know. Okay, so there is Treehouse Schoolhouse. We don't do Blossom and Root anymore, which I miss, but honestly, sometimes it's a little stress off my shoulders because it's one less thing to do, because there is a lot of good stuff in Treehouse Story School. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to deal with is phonics. So I do a new letter instruction for 4 days, and then the 5th day we review the letters. So what I have is I have this loop information, and every day we're practicing the letter, like letter recognition. We're doing a sound practice, a forming letter activity, and then we do a phonetic awareness for those 4 days. So, and then I write that down on the weekly schedule. Right here is where I'm going to write it down. So what I do to decide the letter is I just do the next letter in this series, which is M. So this has 12 pages per letter. So I'm going to break down those. And this is introducing the sound. This is more sound. You're tracing and saying throughout. This will be considered the letter recognition for this day. And then right here, say the name of the picture, say the sound that comes at the beginning, color it in. So these are, I usually go through, I don't do this page, this is where I start the 2nd day. So those are my letter recognition and my sound recognition that I'll put in for the 1st day. Okay, so then let's look at what we would be doing the next day. Let me get this out a little bit. Okay. So for the next day, I like to do this where you read aloud these clues and riddles to reinforce those sounds. So we'll do that for page 30 to 31. And then you're drawing a line for anything that begins with the sound M, and then you're going to be writing. This is going to be the form activity for the day. You'll notice that there is no letter recognition, so I am going to need a letter recognition. So I have 30 to 33, and one of those is form. Now, another thing that we're going to need for this day is we're going to need a letter recognition activity. And what I've been enjoying doing lately is this alphabet find and highlight, because he's having to find the uppercase and the lowercase, which I really appreciate. I call this find and dot because I use a dot marker. So also, before I forget, I want to mention that I also do flashcards and review everything he's learned at the beginning of the day. Okay, so I'm actually going to write this in for every day because I want to make sure I don't forget to write that in. Okay, so before I do phonetic awareness, let's get through these activities. So then what I will do on the third day, I generally won't do anything in here because on the next day, you're matching pictures with the sound, you're tracing letters. He's not really comfortable writing on his own, the letters, but he will trace. And then you have some more sound activity where you're writing the letters. He doesn't generally do this portion or this portion, but he will circle it. So we're going to mix it up and we're going to take a break and we're going to do this the fourth day. So in the meantime, we need a letter recognition, we need a forming activity, and we need a sound activity. So what I like to do for the sound activity right now is I really like this find and color. So you have multiple pictures and he's gonna have to go through them and he circles colors, whatever he wants in that day, what sound it is. And I'll also have him go through for letter recognition here. You've got uppercase and lowercase, so I'll have him highlight those. So that will generally do both. Okay, so for forming activity, I'll always look back on my loop to see what we've done recently. Lately, let's see, what haven't we done for a while? We could do dot markers or pattern blocks. Let's do, let's do sand. He really does enjoy sand. So we'll do sand for the forming. Okay. So now on this last day, we'll do pages 34, 35, 36, and 37. So this will be, I would consider this forming and letter sound. Okay, so now for his letter recognition, I'm going to probably do the whiteboard where I'll have him find uppercase and lowercase letters. He's really been enjoying that. Okay, so now all I need for these is I need phonetic awareness activities. So how I do phonetic awareness activities is I'm going to do 2 a week from All About Reading and about 2 a week from Gentle Feast. I've written down the page number of all the phonetic awareness activities for All About Reading, and I also will write here which one I do for Gentle Feast, but I do have something, let me show you. This is where I've written every single phonetic awareness activity. So this is where I will go look. So I'm going to start with Gentle Feast. It's saying lesson 12 rhyming activity in the student pages. So I will go find 12 in here. Okay, so here's 12. We had previously done this. This is a rhyming activity where he's going to take these cards and he's going to match them to the words. So then I'm going to write the first phonetic awareness, which I do PA. It's going to be Gentle Feast, lesson 12 in the student pages, and that's going to be rhyming. Okay, and then I will go back to looking at these activities. The next lesson will be drumming sounds from the teacher guide, page 15. So I'll go to the teacher guide, and some of these we've already done, but he doesn't really remember them if I'm being honest. Okay, so page 15 is right here. Drumming sounds, perfect. So I'm going to write that in here. Okay, so then my next two activities are going to be from All About Reading, which again, I can go back to my loop right here. And you will see that the next two are pages 34 and 38. So I will just double check in All About Reading, page 34 and 38. Okay, so 34, we're going with Ziggy and the puppet. This is rhyming as well. And 38, okay, this is a good one. This is with the puppet too. He likes it. Okay, so if you'll notice, I skipped page 36. This one just required me to collect items from the house, and I knew I probably wouldn't do that, but okay, perfect. So then I'm going to write here, PA, All About Reading, page 34, and then the PA will be All About Reading, page 38. Okay, and then once I've done these, I'll check them off so that I know I've done them. And then what I'll do is I'll put a I'll put a box by each of these. Okay, that wasn't very neat. Okay, so what I do on the final day is I do review activities. I always do flashcards, of course, every day to review what we've done. And to be honest, last week I really liked what I picked, and we didn't end up doing anything because I had an appointment. So we're going to do the flashcards. We're going to match upper and lower magnets. So that sounds like a good one. And then we're going to play one of the phonetic awareness games I got that I talked in the hall. I'm going to let him choose what we're doing. And then I think we're going to do probably, we also have magnets matching sound to the letter. I don't think I spelled that right. I want to do those because even though we're starting over with the letters, we got through L previously. So I just want to check and see what it is that he actually remembers and review those, even though we're not specifically trying to learn those. We're starting over again. Okay, guys, so next on the list is we've got this loop, which is logic, math, mental health, math, mental health. So for logic, I've been doing the Brain Quest smart card. So that's what we'll be doing. For math, there is math in Treehouse Schoolhouse. However, I really have been liking preschool beginning math. He's been loving it. We've been getting pretty far, and this has been really, really helping him. So we're going to work through that for the 2 days. So I'm going to do preschool math here, just so I know. And then I'll do Brain Quest here. It's really the only thing I have. Then for mental health this week, we are going to read A Little Spot of Happiness. I like to read the same book twice. However, I do have a loop that I go through for his activities for mental health. So let's see what I'm on. Okay, so I would be back on I Heard Your Feelings, which are these cards. I really do enjoy these cards. So we'll do that one of the days, and the mental health book. I like to read the mental health book at least 2 times, if not more. Okay, so we'll do I Heard Your Feelings, and then we'll do Happiness book, and I'll know what that is. Okay, and we're not doing Blossom and Root right now. We finished up level 1. I've considered bringing in level 2, but honestly, I haven't had a week where either I've had the time or I haven't had a ton in Treehouse. So I'm not trying to do too much, but maybe this summer to give us something to do. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, as always, please let me know in the comments. If not, I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.